This could be the end of our season in the LTM. Week number 5 against J-Bear. We have yet to get a win on the board. It's just not been my year. But today, we have an interesting matchup, one I'm super excited for. So if you're excited as well, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. And every subscription helps a ton towards hitting that goal. Into the matchup, we are facing against a familiar foe. Tera Gyarados. This is a Pokemon I used like 2 years ago in a draft league, and this Pokemon was ridiculous in Scarlet and Violet. I had like some interesting opinions on Tera back then and how it played out. I thought Tera Gyarados was a little much. Turns out to not be that good in SV anymore, but it is something special in a low tier. There is not a lot on my team that can deal with this Pokemon. You're going to see the build that we have, kind of a makeshift answer to Tera Gyarados. In all honesty, a lot of other things good on J-Bear's team though. Mienshao is a first round pick. I do have a lot of Pokemon that can kind of switch into it, but not long term, especially with some of the things we want to do with those Pokemon. Raikou is, maybe not the best Pokemon in ADV Draft League anymore, but certainly has held that crown for a while, a Pokemon I'm very familiar with. Hatterene does actually prevent a little bit of an option I could have for hazard stacking, which might be important to keep stuff like the Mienshao low. Damage the Bisharp with spikes, which could be really important. This is going to be a big thing on this battle. And then Qwilfish, really good spiker. Abomasnow is like low-key, like actually super threatening in this battle. I don't really have good resist to it outside of a neutral wall into Dunsparce. So a lot of interesting things going on J-Bear's side here in this matchup. He's got a lot of angles he can take this team. You can use like Aurora Viral offense type of team. You can just go for DD Gyarados off rip and try to kill as many Pokemon as he can, when with the setup sweeper like Calm Mind, Hatterene, or Raikou in the end game. A lot of options for J-Bear here. My side, this is a great Sinistcha game, right? If you look at Sinistcha, the typing is really hard to nail down, and you'll see I make a sacrifice with the typing here, but the coverage I can run, I really just need 2 coverage moves to just win this game outright with the set that we have. Goodra is actually pretty good at walling a lot of the random Pokemon on this team. Hatterene, Raikou can come in on Qwilfish as well. Dusknoir, it comes in on a lot of these kind of middling options and puts really powerful damage out there that might be difficult for my opponent to switch into. Mudsail does a good job holding off Mienshao, at least temporarily, as well as the Bisharp. And then Gyarados, yeah, my boss kind of gets box checked by that guy a little bit hard. We'll get into how we're gonna manage that, but yeah, that Tera Flying, like if you think like on the phase of DD, Tera Blast, Earthquake, Waterfall with Tera Flying, it's gonna be peak for this team. So let's get into the team that we brought. I brought Citrus Berry, Goodra, Hisui, which is an assortment of coverage moves here. And the reason that we're doing this is one, this set has a lot of defense, primarily to be able to take Earthquakes, including +1 Earthquakes from the Gyarados. Use the Citrus Berry to get up to reasonable HP to use this, further from that. And then we have a variety of coverage moves: Draco Meteor and Thunderbolt. So Thunderbolt, we expect it obviously to be Tera Flying, right? That's kind of the typing on the face that's pretty obvious here. But we need Draco Meteor maybe for more damage. Also, just clicking in general against this team, Draco Meteor is pretty good. Flash Cannon hits the Hatterene specifically, the only Dragon immunity on this team that just gets blown up by Flash Cannon. Thunderbolt, as we said, for that Tera Flying Gyarados. And Body Press just gives me a physical move in case I just drop a Draco. If I drop a Draco who goes into something like Bisharp and tries to use that as a setup opportunity, just drop a Body Press on that Pokemon, get that Pokemon out of here. Then he goes into like a Abomasnow after, drop a Body Press on that Pokemon too. This gives me an option that after I Draco Meteor, I can still apply offensive pressure and not just be a total like sitting duck on the field. Calm Mind or Nasty Plot Sinistcha. I don't know if I'm going to Nasty Plot this battle. It's going to be Strength Step, Shadow Ball, Tera Blast for the most part. Obviously, the Nasty Plot will enable an endgame if that situation comes up. But, we'll see. I am going Fighting because what that allows me to do is it only really loses the matchup against the Gyarados. But if I'm going to win this game, I don't think Sinistcha is going to be around, or Gyarados is going to be around with the Sinistcha. I might come to regret that. But I need a typing for the Bisharp because Bisharp I expect to have a little bit more longevity in this battle than the Gyarados, realistically, as that's going to be a Pokemon that's really key to handle our Munkidori, which we'll get to later. But Ghost coverage and Fighting coverage is actually super powerful against J-Bear's team. If you look at it, there's no real answer to it. His only real answer to this Pokemon is obviously whittling it down and then checking it with Tera Gyarados with the Tera Blast. And he could just like randomly not be Tera Flying Gyarados, but we all know that's going to be Tera Flying. No need to worry about that. Nasty Plot as well is important. Just helps for key calcs. I'm going to be able to set up a Nasty Plot against stuff like Rhyperior, against not really the Hatterene, against a Bisharp maybe, because I can't strength set that Pokemon, of course, because of the Defiant, but we can Nasty Plot against a few of these Pokemon and get some real big damage going. This is my answer. This is what I said, chat. This is what I mean by the answers to Tera Gyarados aren't great. We got Cobra Berry, Intimidate Tauros. Yes, and Wild Charge and Stone Edge don't even kill this Pokemon. So why is this the answer? What are we possibly doing? Well, we outspeed every Adamant set, so that's important. This actually might outspeed every Jolly set too. It's been a while since I've looked at this team. But this at least gives me the chip, right? I have Choice Scarf, Monkey Dory, which we'll get to after. This puts it in range guaranteed after pretty much for every calc against Gyarados. There are some calcs that require some Mudsdale damage. We'll get to that in a second. But basically, we have Wild Charge. Wild Charge guarantees it in most cases. If we need to Stone Edge, we can Stone Edge. But this will always put in range then of +1 or of Choice Scarf Monkey Dory, which allows us to basically check this Pokemon every time. This is where I was saying the Bisharp is kind of really important in this battle because it always gives my opponent a pretty free way to answer the Monkey Dory, which is our best check to the Tera Gyarados. But this is primarily here just to intimidate the Gyarados, get off a big hit on that Pokemon, and hopefully be enough to deal with it. Running out of time here in the team builder, so I'm going to go quickly here. Choice Scarf Monkey Dory, this is pretty simple, right? Poison and Psychic coverage is really good into my opponent's team. Does a lot of work. U-Turn helps me as my lead here. This is also my lead. It creates some predictable turns as well, because Bisharp is such a free switch into this. And then Focus Blast here. We got to catch the Bisharp at some point. Some point, we just got to make a play, click Focus Blast, get that Bisharp out of the way, and simplify that end game. Because Choice Scarf Monkey Dory with Bisharp out of the way, yeah, it's going to be pretty peak for Jay Bear to deal with that Pokemon. Rocky Helmet Mudsdale, this is my rocker this week. It has Roar in case we expect like DD or Substitute Gyarados to try to set up on us. Rocky Helmet's going to help us chip down a Mienshao or a Bisharp mainly here. Earthquake, Heavy Slam for the coverage moves. Heavy Slam is important here because one, I want a move that can hit Gyarados for a little bit of chip. This chip does actually open up the Heavy Slam, Wild Charge, Psychic calc. Between this Pokemon, the Tauros, and the Monkey Dory, depending on the bulk. So that's going to be key. And then Heavy Slam is really important because this is the rocker, so Hatterene could get aggressive coming on this Pokemon. So dealing just a massive amount of damage, lowering just the count of Pokemon my opponent has is super important there. And then Assaultist and Unsurprised. This set's actually pretty cool. This set does a lot. It's my switch into Abomasnow because this team doesn't have that right now. But it's really hard for Jaybird to actually switch into this combination of coverage. Boom Burst is obviously very, very powerful. Earthquake is really good for the Raikou. And I guess the Quillfish, but Boom Burst will do enough anyway. Heavy Slam for the Hatterene. This set also does still outspeed Hatterene despite the minus speed nature, which is super important. And then Flamethrower obviously for the Abomasnow. And that is the team for week number 5 of the LTM. As I said, not a great season. Thank you, as always, by the way, to Willow Rush and OGL Mina for the prep and mock support this week. We got to win all the rest of these games. Let's see if we can do it. All right, time for week number 5 of the LTM. We have to win every game from here on out to make playoffs. We play against Jay Bear first up. His Tera is Tera Flying Gyarados. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? It's really good into my team. We have to run some Cobra Berry Tauros to get around it, but I think our game plan is looking pretty good here. Some things to note that are important. We're leading Monkey Dory here. That was our dedicated lead in all scenarios. My opponent has not brought the Hatterene, which is really big. It means I can get my Solrox up nice and early against his team. Put pressure on that Gyarados in case it's like Clear Amulet. Otherwise, the only thing that's kind of surprising is the Dusknoir to come. That's a little interesting to me. We'll see what he wants to do with that Dusknoir, but overall, I really like what we're starting with here. A good lead sequence, and a good lead here for me. I got a quick U-turn off here. I could obviously just go straight for the Psychic, try to pick this off. There's no way he's giving me this, though, right? Like, that would be insane. And I think it's so free for him to go into something like the Dusknoir, okay. Would really like to get a Toxic on this, so it's going to find out my item Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf, I think, is a little telegraphed here. in this matchup. It's obviously a really great choice, Scarfer. Man, I would love to get one of these toxic chains at some point in this season. That would be very, very nice. Dust Noir. So if I'm thinking of what I want to do to Dust Noir, I honestly kind of just want to go into my Sinistcha, get my Tera off, and just throw out a Shadow Ball at this Pokemon. I think it's just my best next step here in this battle. It would obviously be nice to save my pre-Terraform here for something like the Raikou, but I think even that doesn't necessarily matter, and this is a very, very powerful Shadow Ball coming his way. And if he goes in something like Bisharp, I have the Tera to deal with that. So I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball. He has the ability to hit me with something powerful like a Poltergeist randomly here, which obviously could be good. And maybe, you know, the Tera is a little premature because the switch out's kind of obvious. But this will give us some information to go into. And he just goes right into Raikou early. Interesting enough here. So we'll get some good information on this Raikou off rip. Kind of maybe should have considered keeping my Tera though. That would have been nice to do. But alas, I think when this game starts going my way with Sinistcha, it's got to be Tera anyway. So we'll be okay with that, I think. Let's just get this Shadow Ball off. Get some good information on this Raikou. Bop, that's a good like 35% on the Raikou. Offensive pivot. They'll just be standard, kind of boots-ish kind of set. My opponent's doing a lot here with Thunderbolt. I could go into something like the, what's it called? The Goodra here. Yeah, I mean, Goodra's my best play here, right? Just to go straight into Goodra. My opponent's obviously not going to try to set up on me or do anything crazy like that. I can just go into Goodra. They could obviously Volt Switch. They could set up. I do have stuff like the Body Press, which guarantees Break Substitute. It looks like on this set, Draco Meteor puts a lot of pressure, and Aura Sphere is not really doing a lot. That's just going to be a Volt Switch. We eat those all day. That did what? 38 or something? So this looks just to be a Timid set. Timid Momentum set. We're all good. We're good with that. We're good with the Timid Momentum set. We've kind of got ourselves into this battle a little bit. And now we'll go straight into the Mudsdale. No need to complicate things here in the slightest. I expect a U-turn here is the most likely. Like U-turn just Regenerator to get a free turn in on the Mudsdale is the most likely situation here. That's going to do a good, what, 50, 56? So 56 with the U-turn on the Mudsdale. It's going to just be Jolly Choice Scarf, it looks like. Or it could be. And in it comes the Gyarados. And it's Intimidate here, interestingly enough. So no Moxie. But our play is to always go straight into our Tauros here. Get that Intimidate off. It's going to use this as an opportunity to Dragon Dance in my face. And even if it does Dragon Dance, we do have the Kova Berry to live. We get to put a powerful Wild Charge off on that Pokemon. And it's going to reveal to just not be Clear Amulet either, which is super, super good. So we're starting to pick together some information about this team. He just kind of played some momentum, tried to find himself a situation where he gets in this Gyarados early, which we kind of expected, right? That kind of makes the most sense. And he's just going to go for the taunt. Okay, so he looks like he's just going to try to prevent me from roaring him out. So he's probably taunt. That's interesting, because if he's set up, he doesn't have he's missing a coverage move in this battle now. So that's actually really, really good news for me. Given the fact that he's Terra'd, he's taunted, he could just go for the Flying Tera Blast. I'm just going to Wild Charge here, because if he Dragon Dances, I get to kill it. If he just attacks me, then I get to attack him again. Like, this is a great turn for me to just click Wild Charge here. Let's not get any complicated, let's not make this more complicated than we need to be. Takes a little bit of chip to do this, and then we go into Crash Out Jr. That's got to be the Quillfish, right? Yeah. I am going to lose a little bit of damage that I would have liked to have gotten on this thing with the Intimidate, but the Wild Charge, hey, that picks up some chip, right? That's not zero. And it is going to be Black Sludge, it looks like. Yeah, okay. So we've gotten ourselves into this game a little bit. One thing to note about the Gyarados now is we know it's either not set up or missing a coverage move, which really, really helps with this battle, actually. Now, if I think about how I want to play around Quillfish, I think one of the things I want to do is go into Sinistcha here. Because of the fact that I'm Terra'd up, I actually think that's like a pretty good switch for me. I could obviously go into something like Goodra and just drop a Draco Meteor here as well. Both of these are, I think, good options for me. And I think I do prefer this line with the Goodra, right? Yeah, because Goodra, one, guarantee now kills us with a Draco Meteor if it's Fizz Def. It has a decent chance of being that. And if it's offensive, this has a decent chance of just stopping it in its tracks. And we're in a little bit of a mind game is, do we have Waterfall? And it's just going to flip turn, okay. So we're just going to keep playing this momentum game here. No hazards up for J-Bear, though, which is super huge, right? That makes this a little bit easier for me. And we get to learn here if this is Regenerator Mienshao or not. It is Regenerator Mienshao, okay. Perfectly fine. We'll just keep going the same plays that we have. The sequence is working, right? Like, there's no reason to overcomplicate things. Just yet, this momentum obviously is very good for him, but eventually I'm going to find an opportunity to just go for some big damage. And wow, that's good for me here. He just goes straight for the close combat. That is going to not put me in range, especially with the stamina. Oh, this is protective pads. Duh. Okay, so that's a good. I completely missed that actually the last time. So this is pads Mienshao. And I'm just gonna get my Stealth Rocks up. I don't think we really need we kind of like this for Bisharp, but this is also one of the reasons that I really wanted to what's it called? This is also a pretty heavy reason why I want to have fighting on the Sinistcha. It just gives me extra counterplay to the Bisharp. So he's gonna go for the Grass Knot. Interesting coverage move. And I'm just gonna lose my Mudsdale. Okay, probably maybe should have considered scouting that. I guess I don't have a good way to scout that, unfortunately. Kind of that is an it is what it is moment there. Maybe I can't go into Monkey Dory there. So we lose our Mudsdale early. That's not great. We would have really liked to have gotten rocks up here. But now we got to find a way to get back into this game. I think it's just going to go into Monkey Dory, right? Yeah, let's not complicate things here if we don't have to. I could obviously go for the Psychic or the U-turn or a Focus Blast. There's a lot of different plays that I have access to here. I think I just want to go for the U-turn, right? This Pokemon is so good into me that I don't think he's willing to risk it on a Psychic here. You should know that Psychic kills from here. If he does go for, yeah, he does withdraw. Yeah, I could see a world where he stays in, but I just don't think that's a realistic play, to be honest with you. Really like to get the poison here on this turn, but I mean, he could be Cobra Cloaked, or, you know, if that's his general switch into this. Ah, it's not. Finally, we hit one. Oh my god, chat. We finally got one of these stupid, what's it called? These stupid Toxic Chains to go off. And now we just get to go right back into Sinistcha here, put up some offensive pressure. I could always go for a Nasty Plot on this turn, just to really put pressure on that, what's it called? On that Raikou. But I think I'm okay just Shadow Balling for the 2 KO, right? Gives an opportunity to stay in and make a mistake. You obviously can't go into something like the Bisharp. Then it comes Crash Out Jr. And like, this just guarantees... Oh, he's just going to go this. I'm actually really happy with this, actually. I think I'm actually really content with this. Okay, so it's leftovers. I got to think about the speed, right? Because one of the things I really need to be playing around here is Destiny Bond. Destiny Bond is something I'm going to have to consider on this spot. Alright, I don't think I can go for... I think I have to play around Destiny Bond here, right? Like, it's just the logical thing to do. What's the best way to do that? I guess I can just go into my Goodra Hisui. It's a pretty safe switch. And if he reveals to not be that set, then we're perfectly fine just to go into Goodra here. Oh, he's Pain Split. Interesting. Okay, that didn't work out great for me, actually. I really thought he was just going to be fast Destiny Bond there. I can't risk losing my Sinistcha, right? Like, that's just so bad for me in this battle if that's the case. But this Draco Meteor is really good. And if I have to trade this, if I'm thinking of a Pokemon that I guess I'm okay with losing to a Destiny Bond, it's probably this, right? Because that would... I think you have it a little bit less, because that would have been the time to click it there, right? And he's just going to flip turn. Okay, so he's not Destiny Bond, I don't think, the way that he's played that. And now I get a free Draco Meteor off on something. And I get back up on my Citrus Berry, so... Yeah, No, I'm fine with how I played that turn. I think that works out well for me. And he can't switch into this Draco Meteor, right? That's going to be the Bisharp. Bisharp's going to take like a butt-fuck ton of damage. Not that much, but yeah, that's not a lot of damage. It's a decent amount of damage. If I think about it's time to make a play here, I think. I have a decent chance to live. My body press is doing a lot. I think he's just going to get up rocks is what I'm guessing this set is. So I'm just going to body press. He is going to withdraw. Okay. So let's see what he goes into. Scheist. That is the Mienshao. Yeah, I'll take that. That's good damage. That'll be good damage on this Mienshao. We still don't know what type of Mienshao it is, but over half early. We'll take that all day of the week. Very, very happy with that. And we're slowly settling into this game. Losing the Mudstill early is a little bit unfortunate, right? That's kind of the big problem I have in this battle right now. But I think I'm in a position, right, where I don't have a lot of switches into what's going on. I could go into my this Pokemon. Don't think that's going to be a productive turn. What am I using my Dunsparce for? It's got a lot of value here, right? Especially against the Gyarados still. I think I have to lose this Pokemon realistically here. Yeah, I think it's unfortunately time to say goodbye. The close combat was free, but I don't have a great switch in. I don't have a great switch into that. And yeah, we do see the protective pads, which is what we expected. But look, this game could still come. This game is still coming to me. I think this game still has a lot for me that can go well. I have to. I don't think I could go Monkey Dory because I think that opens up more difficult plays for me after the fact. So my opponent can close combat me. So if I go into Sinistcha here, right, my opponent can close combat me and then they lose their Mienshao, and that's the first piece kind of gone of this battle. And I have plenty of opportunities to get the health back later against something like Bisharp. I think I want to go into Sinistcha first, just to put that offensive pressure on. Actually, no, I'm going to go into Monkey Dory. I've U-turned every time, and if my opponent goes Bisharp, then I'm okay, actually, with going into my Sinistcha after. They've gone into the, the Dust Noir every time, and this could be an opportunity to get this Pokemon, so I'd either like to do this or get the Monkey Door, or get the the Dust Noir. He gets me on this turn though. Yeah, this was a little bit what I was kind of concerned with. Jayber's kind of getting me here a little bit in this battle now. And I think at this point I'm gonna have to leverage my HP on. Oh, it might be Defiant. We can't actually go into this Pokemon just yet. I think at this point we can just go into our. Yeah, we can just go into Sinistcha here and be perfectly fine with that. It gives me it either gives me damage here or gives me damage elsewhere. Yeah, I considered Focus Blasting that turn, honestly. That would have been a raw play to make, but I actually don't know what you go into here that super punishes me besides the Gyarados. It is the Gyarados, actually. But I'm okay to just go into my, I'm okay to go into this every time. I think if I hate getting into like the kind of thinking through the plays in the middle of the battle thing, but I think not taking the opportunity to kill the Quillfish I might regret. I really thought it would be Pain Split. I feel like I had to play around that in that sequence because Sinistcha is so important to this battle. And it's just gonna raw Terra Blast. So that's perfectly fine. We'll take that. The 330. And the Koba Berry weakens the damage. Quillfish is in an interesting spot. I'm still in a spot where I can use this to check Pokemon into the late game. So I'm okay with that. I think what I just do here, I think he has to switch. I think he goes Quillfish. I think I just Wild Charge. I mean, he might just take this opportunity to kill me as well. So I'll just Wild Charge. I feel like I should be doubling there, but yeah, just maybe an opportunity to double. Crash Out Jr. And then the Intimidate comes off here. That is maybe a crit. This thing is kind of running out of value here, honestly, in this battle. I kind of think I have to do I have to get something with it here. I think a flip turn is like kind of the most likely play. And so if I keep it low, so if I get flip turned on, what happens? I think I have to stay in here and just attack. If I keep this thing low, I think this has the most likely to have the best outcomes. I can also just like randomly crit, which would be nice. But yeah, I just put that in a position where it can't even come in on this anymore, and I can now use this if I sack a Pokemon to check the Gyarados, at least offensively. And in comes the Raikou. Luckily for me, I mean, the Volt Switch is super obvious here. Do I have to sack this to reset, though? Do I have to sack this to reset? I really considered Focus Blasting. I maybe should have thought about that play more, unfortunately. I guess, you know, I guess we're here now, right? This Volt Switch is obvious. How do I play around it the best of my abilities? This is not a way to play around it. I'm going to play on the fact that he just doesn't Volt Switch. I think is my best case outcome here. And I think that's the best case scenario for me. I can reset by Intimidate. Yeah, I mean, he's going to Volt Switch, but if he goes into Mienshao here, I just Intimidate and I can reset the turn. And then go back into my Monkey Dory. And I think on that point I Focus Blast. If I Focus Blasted on an earlier turn, I actually think that I have a fighting chance in this battle. And that is going to be the Regenerator scene here. I mean, look, Monkey Dory can still pull up in this battle. I mean, the Gyarados being there is tough, but I get an Intimidate off here, and I get to make an aggressive play. I could also just claim a kill here with... No, let's claim a kill here with Sinistcha, actually. Yeah, I think Sinistcha is a better way to claim a kill here, because of the fact that he's we've seen the minus defense, doesn't have a switch into this, saves Monkey Dory in the back. Obviously, we're going to lose a lot of HP to do this, but... or we can in theory, but I think just going in here, he's just going to U-turn. This gives me a lot of damage somewhere. This should give me a kill here, right? You can go Raikou, that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. You could go Quillfish, Crash Out Jr. Okay, that's a kill, perfect. We get on the board here. We get on the board. That, you know, that's obviously really good for me, but as I said, there's still some problems to deal with. Mainly that Gyarados is the main one. And I think not taking an opportunity to kill the Bisharp is going to be maybe my downfall of this battle. So let's see. Luckily, like, given the set, like, I think this thing can still, like, my Dunsparce still has a good chance to just take 2 hits here. And it is not necessarily trivial for him to switch into this Pokemon, realistically. He is just going to Dragon Dance. But I just go for the Boom Burst and deal a lot of damage, right? Like, that's just going to be my play here. Like, I think he's going to taunt. I think he's realistically going to taunt here. So I'm just going to Boom Burst. This puts this in range of the... and I live this Tera Blast every time. So this then puts in range of Monkey Dory. Wow, that is not the range I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that is adamant as hell. Damn. Well, that's good damage here. That should be in range now of... Given that calc... It's not in I mean, it's got to go, right, at this point? The calc on Monkey Dory. That calc's just got to go. Yeah, luckily, we'll take that, and we'll just take the Tera Blast here. If I'm J-Bear, this is an interesting turn for me here. So I'm obviously going Monkey Dory. The question is do I Focus Blast? Or do I, like, U-turn? Because in theory, like, let's think about this through J-Bear's eyes, right? Like, does he just sack this Pokemon off? Like, if he sacks this Pokemon off, he can realistically lose, actually, to this Pokemon, and then it becomes really dicey for him to actually win this game. But if I stay in an attack, I think he has to switch. That might be overplaying here. Man, this Bisharp being dead would be so nice for this game plan. Is it easier to do this by U-turning, though? Is it better to do this by U-turning on the Bisharp and just Tera Blasting? If I kill this, I don't think I can win anyway. I'm going to U-turn. He does withdraw. Okay, huge, 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 huge. Huge turn for me. Child's Play. This is the Bisharp. Wow, okay. This is potentially game-saving here. This is potentially game-saving right now. That's a massive U-turn. Needed that U-turn to go, right? Like, that U-turn had to work out for me here. And now I pick up a kill here. I pick up a kill 100%. And the question is does he do it with this? Oh, what is the calc on Gyarados at +0 against my Sinistcha? It does kill, especially where it's adamant, right? Monkey Dory, does Monkey Dory ever live? Monkey Dory lives, actually. So I think I can hard Monkey Dory after. I'm just gonna Tera Blast. If he gives me this Pokemon, that's really, really good for me. He's gonna go into Shiest. That is this this Pokemon here. And this Tera Blast will do a good amount of damage. Wow, that is a lot more than I would have thought it would have done. That is pretty good for me. What are you gonna do here? Is this still winnable? If I Strength Sap, if he U-turns and goes Strength Sap, and I get the Strength Sap on the Gyarados, and I get just a turn to attack, I think I'm gonna Strength Sap here. Okay. So I keep myself at high HP. I could now switch into my, I could go hard into, what is that last move? Is that last move knockoff? I could go hard Monkey Dory here. Hard Monkey Dory and Focus Blast would be interesting. No, that's terrible, right? Yeah, that'd be dumb. I'm just gonna Shadow Ball. Yeah, he's gonna U-turn now. Okay, perfect, perfect. Oh, what is he gonna go into? This is freaking close, chat. This is so close, especially the fact that I know I live that Tera Blast now. Redacted. This is the Raikou. Okay. All right, we take that. I think he's gonna Volt Switch here, right? Like, that's the most likely play. He could obviously just attack to do a lot of damage. How much HP would I gain on a Strength Sat? 185. Not a lot, right? Yeah. So I think I just attack here. Keep it simple. I could go Tera Blast. Does it matter which one I go for? I'll just Tera Blast. He just goes for the Shadow Ball, okay. It's not a lot, but I'll take this kill. I'll take that kill, and now Gyarados comes in, but I get to go right into my... I get to go into Monkey Dory, which is nice. Because I know that I live Adamant 252. Yep, in comes this. Intimidate is fine. As I said, we know Monkey Dory lives this, so we have to go into it. That's our only play here. And the question is what do I do this turn? Because I think the Bisharp has to come out, right? And Tera Blast, so we live that. Unless I'm like super bad at calcing, but I know I'm not, yeah. I say I know I'm not, like I wouldn't have completely fumbled that calc in the past. And now the win condition, he has to go Bisharp to throw this, right? Like his throw condition is going Bisharp. His throw condition is also technically sacking this, actually. Sludge Wave, Psychic. This is a tough spot, realistically. Because I think the Sinistcha can do it as well. I'm really conflicted on what I want to do here. You know what? I'm going to put my balls on the table and Focus Blast. I'm putting my balls on the table and Focus Blast. Go Bisharp. I'm him. I'm him! Yo, somebody sign me, dude. If this misses, I'm going to delete my account. I might delete my account if this misses. I might delete my account if this misses. That's crazy. Goodbye, Bisharp. Goodbye, Bisharp. Damn, that is crazy work. The problem is I think he just goes back to Dragon Dances and wins, but you know what? I had to put it on the table for the one time, right? I had to throw it on the table for the one time. I mean, he can drag... Well, he has to Dragon Dance and attack, right? He can't... Yeah, he has to Dragon Dance and attack, so I do, because I can just kill him. So, like, technically this is still winnable. This is still, like, very winnable, but I think Dusknoir just, like, doesn't die, yeah. He's gonna Terra Blast anyway. Which is perfectly fine, but... Yeah, if I did that Bisharp play earlier, obviously I would have had a much better chance of winning this game. I would have not had to sack, like, so much damage on my Pokemon. But alas, it is what it is. And I think Dusknoir should have, like, a priority move anyway. But alas, that is unfortunately how the cookie crumbles, chat. Sometimes you just can't put your balls on the table and make the goated play when you need to. And you just go straight into it here, which technically, if he's not priority, gives me an out here. Although I assume you have to have a priority move here, right? Like, otherwise this doesn't make sense. Oh, well, this does fucking dick all this does shit all anyway. Yeah, even with the crit, I'm not dealing anything. Yeah, oh, super unfortunate, chat. I really wish I would have gone for the Focus Blast earlier in the battle. And taken away that Pokemon when I had the opportunity. But it is what it is, right? Like, there's only so much... that you can do. Sometimes, like, that's one of the plays I feel like when I'm playing super well, I make all of the time. And it puts me in a situation where I can easily win that game. As you can see there, like, I have the capability to make that play, but unfortunately that's 5 losses in a row, which means we're done in the LTM. I hope you guys enjoyed that game. It was a really good game with J-Bear. You know, shout out to him, really, really good player. Tera Gyarados was obviously just a massive threat this whole week and really took over this prep. And I think I gave myself a fighting chance at every turn of this battle, but I think that's, you know, a lesson to take from this one is you got to take your spots when you get them, and that Focus Blast turn should have taken it much earlier in the game, because if we would have done it, I think we would have had just enough resources to break through his team. You see how close that is, right? With, like, Psychic, if Dusknoir just takes more chip, if Mienshao is down, things just simplify a little bit in the end game. But that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We will see you all in the next upload. And as always, have a wonderful day.